Hello and welcome back to Nothing But 20s, and this is our starting intro background episode for the Siadarin Chronicles. So before we get started, I just want to say a big thanks to Michael Gelfi, who has awesome stuff up on Spotify and YouTube. So go check him out. He basically lets you use your stuff for free, obviously if you mention him, which we do, and we'll be donating pretty soon to helping him and supporting him. So that should be pretty good. Otherwise, we're just going to do a quick character intro, character backgrounds for this upcoming season. So just sit back, relax, and enjoy.
Hello. As you may or may not know, I am Jack, and in the previous campaign, I played the sorcerer Malicos. But I will be taking on a new role and facade as the Leonin Xior Agrotis. His mane is a golden yellow that waves and glows seemingly in slow motion. His fur is light pale, almost white, and is short and combed. His eyes, a deep green, reflects the forest surrounding his home. His face, always stoic and neutral, unless in interaction, portrays a long scar across his right eye from a play fight in his youth. If left untrimmed, he can grow a goatee that reflects the colour of his mane, though it stops after 2 inches of growth. He's a fit and hearty young Leonin, and he stands at an overwhelming 6 foot 9 inches tall and is matched with 240 pounds of pure muscle. A 7-inch long 3-claw scratch runs across his chest from a hunting accident with a cassowary when he was 14. Xior is a proudful and stoic young 19-year-old, and he is the 3rd generation of livestock farmer in his family to have been born in Trader's Cove. You will always catch him walking with purpose, his head held high and his back straight, knowing he must represent his family with the utmost respect. Xior grew up 40 minutes outside of Trader's Cove on a livestock farm along with his mother, father, brother and sister. His father, of the same name, was well known around Trader's Cove. He believed in community and taught Xior the importance of kindness and selflessness. Xior, for as long as he remembers, would go into Trader's Cove with his father and watch him as he spoke, traded, and helped out the people of his community. Xior loved his father and would be next to him, inseparable at any point. Until one spring morning, on a routine hunt, his father was killed by a giant Siadarin tiger. Ever since then, Xior has stepped up as the man of the house and had to quickly forget the joys of childhood and become a man long before his peers at the young age of 14. He obtained part-time work at the Fisherman's Daughter Ale House, where he was a bouncer. Xior grew up with a couple of odd fellows, but he always called them friends. Mathias was this genius builder and tinkerer. He always loved taking things apart, seeing how they worked, just to put them back together again. He always had a tool in his hand, and this came in handy on many of the group's many mishaps and adventures. Oska was a witty and adventurous musician and fisherman. Ever since they were kids, Oska would love to fish and Xior would love to eat. Xior has watched Oska's musical talent grow, and he still loves the ballad dedicated to his late father that Oska wrote and how it touched Xior's heart. This is the only time one of his friends has seen Xior cry. Oska and Xior's friendship was full of life and adventure, and they always threw a nod or smile when they caught each other's gaze while working nights at the ale house. Ender was a nice and friendly man. Xior would see him and exchange pleasantries, but given the age gap, Xior didn't really begin a friendship with him until their later years. He remembers hearing about his cooking, and after many servings, he knew a partnership could be forged, and thus sprouted a friendship that he holds close. Nowadays, Ender and Xior trade their products and share stories of their professions almost every day. As Jack, I am super excited, nervous, intrigued, and frightened of what is to come. The boys have come up with some awesome characters and stories to build from, and Cameron has done some truly amazing things in terms of world and story building. I am most excited to see the characters grow, not only in power, but in depth of story, as well as the players who play them. This campaign opens new avenues for us in terms of serious storytelling instead of just chaos and giggle, but don't worry, the fun will still be there with a whole lot of intrigue. I hope you are all as excited as we are, and I cannot wait for you guys to hear us come session 1. Up next is Mitchum to introduce his character.
Hey, I'm Mitchum, and I'll be playing our Eyes in the Books 19-year-old human bard named Oska Weaving. Oska is the youngest son of 2 children in the Weaving family. He has lived in Traders Cove his entire life. Mischievous but raised to show grace, Oska hides an impertinent young man beneath his polite, warm outward appearance. He inherited his mother's wavy he inherited his mother's pale cherry red hair, which is usually tied back in a loose ponytail falling just below his shoulders, and her tendency to strike up conversation with just about anyone. Though he has his father's hazel blue eyes and tongue-in-cheek wit, Oska resembles the men of his mother's line. In fact, his surname Weaving is from his mother, as both he and his older brother Chase were born before their parents were married. Both have a slim, athletic build, stand just shy of 6 foot, have full cheeks and lips with soft-tipped noses, a sandy brown complexion, and a preference for water with a slice of lime in it. The only difference between the brothers is Chase's curly hair cut short like his father's. So Oska often wears a loose-fitting blue and white tunic with open-ended pants that fade from white to thistle purple, which he made himself. They leave his common-make sandals exposed for all to see. His right ear has 2 earrings, one through the helix and another through the lobe. Oska wears a necklace with a stone pendant shaped like a skull and a woven bracelet adorned by a seagull's feather in the design that favors Thermo, the god of warmth. He's a recognizable face in Traders Cove. He works at the Fisherman Daughters Ale House, where he serves both the locals and travellers, whether they be the sailors or the hillmen from Dragontooth Ridge. Typically working as one of the table serving staff, on busy nights Oska can also be found behind the bar or helping as a kitchen hand. So his mother Amelia Weaving works at the Mayor's Manor, as she has for the past couple of decades. She retained her job when the current mayor of Traders Cove, Leighton Altahir, took the position 7 cycles ago. Amelia is a well-known and respected face in town and seems to know a thing or two about everyone. She's a social butterfly and a close friend to more than a few households, including the Agrotis family. Amelia is a shorter woman of 5'1" and has a slim frame. Her mass of pale cherry red hair is usually neatly held together with a single clamp, worn down and altered into a hair clip, leaving a loop of hair over her right shoulder, even though I just pointed to my left. Oska's intelligent, wise and often cheeky father, Leon, works as a fisherman, though the scarring on his arms has created speculation of his past life before his move to Traders Cove close to 25 cycles ago. He stands well over 6 foot and has a muscular body, more so than you would expect of a fisherman. His short, curly dark hair defies any attempt to style it, and his smile is warmer than the summers of Siadarin. Chase, Oska's older brother, is only a year older than Oska, and works on board a merchant ship named the Puffin. The Puffin usually docks in the cove for 2 days every month, leaving the family home a little emptier most days of the year. Oska's favourite pastime includes reading books about adventure and mystery, playing his instruments along the sandy shores of Traders Cove, helping his mother and Auntie Ella prepare for the changing of the month festivities, or stuffing his eager face full of Anissa Fletcher's, is it Anissa? Anissa Fletcher's, or Ender's cooking. Oska's biggest known achievement is inspiring the seasonal Sandslope Slip and Slide contest, much to the anguish of old Harvey Miller and recent joy of Lexi Altahir, the mayor's daughter. Every changing of the seasons, Oska instigates those daring enough to tempt injury into action by descending the cliffs onto the sandy shorefront in rapid fashion. Making mischief is as much a part of Oska's character as his preference to express himself through music or words written. His steady hands and attention to detail are recognised by the community, which has led to Oska being the preferred member of the Weaving family to draw the eyeliner on those seeking to impress on the first day of each month. It's a task he struggles to refuse to do, as Oska is a sucker for a pretty face. I'm looking forward to playing my young artistic nerd and having the opportunity to explore the realms of supportive bard antics that aren't stereotypically seen, at least according to the internet and its collection of memes. We'll be back playing live at the table rather than over Discord, so believe me, the banter will be back to its best and most unrefined filth. Next up will be Daniel introducing his new character.
Hi, my name is Daniel, and I'll be playing Mathias Terullius Septimus Yassir al-Jabbar. Mathias was born nothing out of the ordinary. He is the 3rd generation of worksmiths in Traders Cove, born on the first day of Algos of the Council of Hold. a bit of technical difficulties there. Mathias is a scrawny, keen-minded tinkerer who struggles with concentration. The neutral good artificer is always one to ask why. For Mathias, knowing why things are happening or why they are not is what keeps the cogs turning in the mind of this young tinkerer. Through frizzled shoulder-length hair, you can see a pair of adolescent horns, tired hazel eyes due to the lack of sleep by hyperfixation of incomplete projects. With a basic, not-so-fashionable outfit, the only hint of style is the 3 piercings in his left ear he got when he was 14. Mathias is a half-tiefling born to a tiefling mother, Pratari Xior al-Jabbar, and a daring human father, Septimus Terulius al-Jabbar. Septimus was the callous, rough type of father who was always working in the heat of the forge. His facial hair was thick and unkempt, with singed tips due to the constant work with the hot metals and flames of the forge. Pratari was gentler, yet somehow just as tough, and was responsible for the repairs of leathers and cloth. As the only child of the al-Jabbar family, childhood was as simple as they come. Mathias would be with his parents for the better part of the day in the family workshop, and during the evenings he would be spending time with the other kids, Oska, Xior, and Ender. Mathias was never a bad kid. He was never a good child either. It's just that when his mind wandered, it made it difficult for anyone to get his attention back. For example, during a game of hide and seek, as Mathias was seeking, he quickly became distracted by an ant's nest. After what felt like an eternity, the other kids wandered back to find Mathias still at the anthill observing. When Mathias turned 8, his dad gave him his own personal tool belt to have on him while he worked. Mathias barely ever took that thing off, only when he needed to sleep. With this new utility belt, Mathias made his first large-scale improvement. Using ropes, pulleys, and a foot pedal, Mathias transformed the family bellows into a mechanized behemoth. Septimus was astonished to see his son make the fires of the forge roar with naught but a pump of his foot. Mathias had no real need to leave the workshop. He had set up his own crib to sleep in while the shop was quiet or closed, which allowed him to continue tinkering the many side projects he had half completed. Although Mathias was always tinkering, his poor organizational skills would often leave projects abandoned behind the desks and shelves for months at a time. Worried that her son would be lonely and never have friends if he stayed inside all day, Pratari would force Mathias to play outside with the other children. Mathias often struggled to keep up with the other children in town due to his scatterbrained tendencies and smaller frame. As such, he would often be on the tail end of snide remarks and the odd stone. Mathias would come home Sundays with bruises and cuts from the other kids in town that didn't understand his mind. During a particular incident at church, Mathias was being picked on by the usual suspects when he noticed a golden blur across the room. Before he knew it, Xior had tackled his tormentors and was swiftly throwing them out of the door. From that day forth, Mathias and Xior became good friends, and as repayment for this, Mathias would often repair Xior's farming tools whenever he asked. Mathias was the last person to join the friend group. After Xior saved him... Xior, did I say it right? I'm just stuttering. Hold on. Mathias was the last person to join the friend group. After Xior saved him, he got to meet Oska and Ender. The friend group all have a lot in common, which helps Mathias get along with them so well. They are all dedicated to their respective crafts. Mathias to his wonder and improvements, Oska to his dedication of his performances, Ender to his dedication to make the perfect meal every time, and Xior to his dedication to protect his family and to make his late father proud. Now Mathias is 18 years old and still doing the same thing he has been doing his whole life, always on the tools, repairing broken items found from the bar and other bits and bobs the townfolk need. His latest and well-known improvement was making the cranes at the docks collapsible to protect them from the summer storms. Playing an artificer, I feel would be a really good challenge for me as a player. The last campaign, I played the straightforward, get up and stab, or in the case of Sebastian Oakley, I was I'm gonna shoot him. I'm looking forward to playing Mathias and growing my skills as a player as the skills of this young artificer grow throughout the campaign. Up next, we've got Alex to introduce his character.
Hello all, my name is Alex. I am one of the members of the Nothing But 20s D&D group. With our first campaign ending and a new year beginning, we have been slowly preparing the new step of our adventure, being Campaign 2. We believe this new adventure will pique your interest and be the experience that you, our listeners, have been waiting for. As such, let me introduce my character for this upcoming campaign. Ender Drassic. He is an ordinary 25-year-old human that was born and raised in Traders Cove. His class and skills will remain secret as of now, as he's still unaware of his potential or powers he may possess. For now, we will start with the basics. Ender works as a local cook or chef at hand, where his talents are utilized throughout the town, being either at the Eleanor's Bakehouse, Sleeping Sailor Inn, Fisherman Daughter's Tavern, Market, or just plain at home. Ender is a 6-foot-tall, slim individual. His skin is slightly tan due to the conditions of being raised in a coastal town. He has black hair with some shade of red, and when it does come into direct sunlight or any form of lighting, it almost looks like hot ember. He has blue eyes as bright as the sky and weighs no more than 165 pounds. His attire consists of a long blue sleeve shirt that is always rolled up with brown leather cuffs holding them in place, a red crystal necklace that was given by his mother, a black vest with golden markings and other unique features outlining it. He also has a customized belt holster that holds his valued kitchen utensils, including his recipe book when wanting to cook up a specific meal or to take some general notes. 2 separate brown leather gloves, with his left being fingerless to grab food easier and his right fully enclosed to better grip his utensils. A white apron that is also compacted into his belt holster that covers from his waist down to his knee. Long green pants and a black knee-high boots with 2 golden straps. Ender's parents are very unique to Traders Cove. Both were actually former travelers in the nation that crossed paths, fell in love and decided to settle. Ender's father, Drassic, was a lone merchant. His specialty while traveling was exchanging information to those in need for some coin. If there was something you were looking for, he either had it or knew where to find it. Otherwise, he simply sold general items that he had just come across for a good deal. Ender's mother, on the other hand, Pina Drassic, was a traveling cook. She traveled from town to town, helping businesses in need of that were in need and in high demand for someone experienced in cooking meals to the local community until one could be found. Both were really good people and travelers. Eventually, when the time came they crossed paths, they instantly connected and decided that they were meant to be together, having them take residence in the small coastal town of Traders Cove. Starting a new life meant new jobs for them to settle in. Jollis, remaining loyal to his merchant life, worked as a logistics assistant at the dockhouse, whereas Pina started her own local business cooking food to those that were inexperienced or were unable due to physical difficulties or other complications. Ender's life was as normal as they come. He was a gentle person, always caring for others and stepping up for those in need. He wasn't one to show his true feelings unless it was those who he trusted or he could really trust, like his friends. His passion for cooking came from his mother, Pina, who showed him how food can change people's lives and how it can help others. His loving family supported him. His father, Jollis, even managed to get him his first job at the Fisherman Daughter's Ale House. During this time, he began meeting people to call his real friends, fell in love, earned the respect of others, learned new recipes to show to his parents and the locals, and, as usual, growing up to make his parents' life easier knowing that he is capable to support the family. As a cook, Ender has his moments. He isn't the best, but is always willing to show off his skills. He has improved over the years and always challenges himself to make new improved meals to what is given on the menu within the Fisherman Daughter's Tavern. One of his achievements is the creation of the dish, which even scored him his name on the menu, called the Flaming Ender Chicken, a popular dish for those wanting to challenge their taste buds to something more spicy yet light for the stomach. On his days off work, Ender usually was out in the forest searching for ingredients. Hunting was always difficult for a job, so he occasionally brought Oska to accompany him, as he was a bit more helpful when it came to these certain kind of situations. And at the end of the day, he'd use Oska as a test subject for his new recipes. Safe to say that he has yet to put Oska in a food coma with what Ender makes. When Ender first began working, he found it very difficult to work with the utensils he had, as they were all falling apart and not sharp enough to cut into the ingredients. He struggled to cook to his full potential and became very frustrated. Isra, who was also at the tavern, noticed this and went to Mathias, who is a close friend to Ender. She struck a deal with Mathias, who decided to help Isra out. On Ender's 23rd birthday, Isra gave Ender a customized belt with holsters that was able to hold his equipment, even including some new, sharp, and durable equipment. This made Ender happy knowing she went through all the trouble, but although Isra was the one to praise, she mentioned that it wouldn't have been possible if it weren't for Mathias. Ender thanked Mathias for such an amazing gift and occasionally dropped by his house with a nice warm meal. Ender is never looking for trouble, but occasionally finds himself in it. The tavern can be a pretty confronting place, especially with drunk locals. Ender once saw Isra being catcalled and even bumped around with some drunk patrons, which really annoyed him. Isra, although smiling and laughing it off, always returned to the back for more food and drinks before kicking the tavern bar, which Ender saw that she was clearly annoyed and not wanting any more of it. Having been raised to step in when one has done wrong and to take a stand for what is right, Ender confronted those responsible, wanting them to apologize to Isra. Ender can easily fend off himself, especially with those that were drunk, but when things got tough, Xior, a close friend, always helped Ender when it came too complex of a situation. To close off, I just want to say I'm extremely hyped for the next campaign, to play Ender Drassic. There is so much more to explore about him, but sadly, that will have to wait when we dive into the session. And I guarantee this, he will have some killer recipes for you to try at home if you are ever up to the task. For now, have a good day, and we'll see you very soon.
Well, thank you very much for listening to our characters' backstories and introductions. If you want to listen more or you want to find out about the actual world of Siadarin itself, go to our Spotify or go onto our YouTube account and it should be the next video up. Session 0 should be recorded in a couple of weeks and we will be making sure we chuck everything up. Make sure you follow us, subscribe on YouTube, Twitter, Instagram. Just type in Nothing But 20s. You should be able to find us.
Are we on Twitch?
We are on Twitch now as well. I'm not too sure where we will be live streaming just yet, but you guys don't need to worry about that. So, yeah, make sure you give us a follow and a subscribe so you can see when we upload. And thank you very much, and see you next time.